feel like a pope, one of the finest. I got the mind of a scientist, nigga. A whole lot of hope. Feel like I can cover my eyes and lead the blind for niggas. I could've went broke. Nigga thought I was a joke. I was out here designing niggas. I'm one of a kind. I'm one of a kind. I'm all alone. Them niggas some clones. I feel like a pope, one of the finest. I got the mind of a
All right, so on the story previews on my Instagram feed, I see that on Francis's story, he has a marble, like tabletop or countertop, zoomed in on, and he says, "Not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. 2 more days." So, all right, there's a few things about it. The marble countertop that is zoomed in on, uh, is very similar to the marble countertop that's within Todd's kitchen at his parents' house that he lives in. And he says, "Not where I want to be." And for the last few weeks he's been posting on Instagram that he's in North Carolina, which is right next to South Carolina, you understand? And then he says, to be, and then 2 more days with the orange heart, right? And so orange is the color that they use to depict the targeted individuals within the situation. He is a perpetrator and is depicted by the color green, and they continue to try and switch the colors that they use to depict the two, between the two labels, essentially, because when it first began they were mentioning several targeted individuals, or people, including myself heavily, subliminally, and while they were doing so they were using the color orange. And so that went on for some months, while they were using green to depict the perpetrators, that some of which I identified, some I did not, right? And then after that, as the months went on, they switched the color scheme and began to use green to depict uh the TIs, and they started using orange to depict the perpetrators. And so, that's a clear motive or scheme to switch political power after you already began to use the two colors as a vessel, essentially, for political power and reputation. You understand? So that's very dangerous, because it was backed by the government, and they had an entire smear campaign that was active for over a decade. But the illegal surveillance was over a decade, but the actual smear campaign itself began late 2018, to my knowledge. That's when I became hypersensitized to it and became aware that they were literally subliminally messaging about myself, as well as several people within different networks that I'm a part of. And then you also see at the bottom where it says the post suggested for you. The first one is from the artist Shensia, who partially depicts Daniela, and she has similar features to her. You understand? And so once again, that's just going to show how they gaslight me. You understand? With the government's help, and then they can hack your social media pages, your news feeds, and what have you, and constantly uh, you know choose or select the post that will be suggested when posts are suggested, versus you seeing the post from your own news feed, which they still I believe attempt to disturb just like how they're disturbing me while I'm speaking about it. They attempt to disturb what I see on my newsfeed from the people that I do know and follow, because they don't want certain people interacting with me to gain the information that I am posting about. And so they constantly create invisible barriers where if I post or if someone else posts that they don't want me to interact with or see the post itself or what is going on, they will just hide it from my news feed or hide my post from their news feed. You understand? And so that's a violation of our First Amendment. And the reason that he's even making a reference to Todd's house and the marble countertop is because with their legal surveillance, which he's already admitted subliminally by posting certain things that I already posted about, even though he did not comment on anything that mentioned his name. He did post a very similar picture to the Uchiha tablet that I already documented about. And then when Doggy Style, the rapper, included a visual in one of his music videos after I documented about the Uchiha tablet that resembled it, I posted that documentation as well. And then he posted a picture that looks just like the Uchiha tablet as well and said keep going with a hashtag and a purple heart, essentially trying to say that he's one of the people who's illegally surveilling and stalking me, as well as part of the government's perpetrator organ harvesting agenda. And I've already identified how in several ways, you understand. And then I documented several months ago, if not last year, when I started noticing the music industry was so heavily incorporated that the artist Zay Muna is meant to depict Francis as well as myself, and he has Francis's features. However, he's moving Crip, and moving is 8 Tray Gangsta, which is what Bernie from my block is. And however, Francis went to school with me and copied a lot of my personality while he was with me, like around middle school when we were in the same friend group. Because I also believe he is a closeted homosexual who buck breaks and enslaves for the government's perpetrator society and agenda, and he constantly likes to post on social media ambiguous posts that seem as though he's either flirting or courting someone, and it could be either a male or a woman based on other subliminals that he posts throughout the day that is definitely like referring to a man, you understand. So then at the same time he's attempting to play the blurred lines game heavily because he's already exposed as a confidential informant. So you can't take too much of what he's doing serious anymore, you understand? Because it's all for the government to distract and disturb people from the real information. But like I said, I was going to post about the Zaymuna artist because there's a song that Zaymuna has with a member of his group named Sin Muna. And Sin is short for Cindy, which is Todd's mother's name. And, there's several depictions that I've already documented about that show that Todd and his parents, as well as my uncles and my father, have a lot of, they've conspired with Francis a lot throughout, right after middle school, essentially, when they began to, you know, groom him as one of their perpetrator vanguards for the grand production that's taking place today, and the exposure essentially of their perpetrator society and several of their perpetrator informants, you understand.